So first of all, I want to welcome everybody to the Hash Room, Blockchain 2018, and first blockchain conference, hopefully one of many. Thank you for patience while we work some of the bugs out. So not 8:45, obviously, but 9:10. This is what's going on right now, but we're glad you joined us here in the Hash Room. We're going to be talking about the intersection between blockchain and industry and enterprise today. That's going to be the topic of the entire day. And our first speaker, Radoslav Dragov from Abrosis. Rado, correct?
Yes.
Excellent, okay.
Sure. Hello everyone, thank you very much for coming to this presentation. I will be talking about the intersection between blockchain and IoT that is, I think, best represented by our company Abrosis. A bit about me, my name is Rado Dragov. As was explained, I'm a business developer for the Swiss-based company Abrosis, and we combine blockchain with IoT to ensure trust, traceability, and truth on behalf of companies in the food and pharmaceutical sectors. Now, in preparation for today's presentation, I decided to take a few headlines concerning the food and pharmaceutical industry these days, and as you can see, the news is not all good. In fact, it's pretty terrible, but it comes in different flavors of terrible. You see food fraud, you see harmful products found, harmful ingredients found in food products, and also counterfeit drugs costing the lives of tens of thousands of people, and in some statistics, even millions of people. Now, the reasons for these bad headlines are many, and I'll get to them as I present. But the end result is there's a general lack of trust in institutions and especially in businesses. So these days, people are not just asking for transparency, truth, alignment with their values. They're really demanding it. And that's the problem we're trying to solve with Abrosis. So here's a quick introduction of what we do is, as I already mentioned, we combine blockchain with IoT to ensure the traceability, authenticity, origin, provenance of food and pharmaceutical products. On one hand, we have our own blockchain platform, which is scalable, highly efficient, but most importantly, it is very easy to integrate with other IoT devices or existing software, legacy software, data repositories. We make it maximally easy to integrate with different solutions, not just our own. And we combine it with our own custom-made IoT devices and sensors. We have our own laboratory in Switzerland where we create those devices that collect supply chain data in a secure and efficient manner. Now, some of the problems that we're trying to solve, I already touched upon some of them. Counterfeiting is one. As I mentioned, especially in the pharmaceutical industry, counterfeit drug costs tens of thousands of lives. If you're a big brand, you've invested millions in building that name, but one incident can kind of bring everything to a halt. So it's very, very important to stop counterfeit products for kind of besmirching your name. Second is product quality. People these days are more conscious of what they consume, but at the same time they're becoming less trustful of businesses. So how do you make sure that, let's say, the organic product you're selling is really organic? How do you make sure that it doesn't contain harmful pesticides? The third problem is traceability. This is kind of an overarching problem. It's difficult to track products these days because supply chains are getting more and more complex, they're getting longer, and it's difficult to track the products. But it's not just the location of the products themselves, it's also the storage conditions. And sometimes if your transport company doesn't store the products in the proper conditions, then if somebody gets sick, then your reputation is on the line. It's not the transport company. And finally is supply chain inefficiency. Even in the biggest companies these days, there's miscommunication. Different parts of the company do not communicate with each other. And we're trying to break down these silos that exist between departments and between companies so data can be exchanged more freely. How do we do that? We try to connect all parts of the supply chain. That includes suppliers, manufacturers, distributors, retailers, and consumers. And then we try to collect data about the products themselves. This is the origin, the distribution, conditions of storage, and processing history. We think that by providing more transparency, we can, everyone in the supply chain can benefit. For example, if you're a supplier, then you would probably want to make sure that the ingredients, the raw material that you're selling is of high quality and demands a premium price. Our system allows you to prove that. If you're a manufacturer, you want to know that the products that you've shipped are actually stored in the proper conditions. And you can monitor that with our system. And as a consumer, we all want to know what we actually consume and is of high quality. So we think everyone can benefit from increased transparency. This is how we achieve that. As I already mentioned, we make it exceedingly easy to integrate with different hardware and software. On the hardware front, that could be sensors, printers, QR code scanners, and printers. We make it easy to integrate with existing ERP system like SAP, for example, so you don't take a long time to integrate with our system, and kind of we make it very easy to collect data, share data, and manage that whole data. I'm very conscious of the time, so that's why on some slides I'm kind of trying to speed through them. I want to say a few words about our laboratory in Switzerland, why we decided to create one in the first place. We saw that there are many IoT solutions on the market, many sensors, but what we notice is that most often they're very generic, and also they don't provide the security that you need when you're creating a blockchain solution. This is very crucial because if you're collecting supply chain data, then you have to be absolutely sure that the data hasn't been tampered with. Because some people think that just because data is on the supply chain, that makes it true. Not at all. You can put faulty data there. So that's why we decided to create our own sensors and devices to collect that data, because all the data is encrypted when it's sent to our blockchain, and we also make it very, very almost impossible to hack physically our own sensor. So you can really trust the readings from those sensors. And this is one of the devices at the bottom, if you see at the screen, is our Bluetooth sensor that can capture data about temperature, humidity, light, shock, and positioning. We're trying to move to supply in Industry 4.0, where different parts of the supply chain communicate with each other. In this case, we're trying to create our smart pallet, which can actually know how many products are on top of it and how many of these products are intact. How does that happen? We have a seal on the wine bottle, for example, and we have a gateway that interfaces with that seal. So you know when you scan, you know exactly how many bottles are intact and how many bottles, for example, have some problem with it if the seal is not intact. So we're trying to automate this collection of data. A lot of this stuff is done manually, and that creates a huge just inefficiencies all around. We're an open source platform. We provide you with the software developer toolkit to build your own apps on top of our platform. And we actually are developing a community of people who can develop apps on top of our platform and monetize them independently of us. This slide will provide some examples. So if you want real-time inventory management using IoT, you can create those apps, again, independently of us. and you may want to resell them to a big manufacturer. Or if you're the big corporation itself, you actually can build those apps, and we don't have to build them for you. We give you the flexibility. We can build them for you, but we would rather you build them yourself. Other applications that you can use is crypto incentivized product feedback. You can get very creative with different insurance schemes. Again, sky is the limit. Your creativity is the limit of the apps you can build on top of our platform. The end goal is to become the Android of supply chain management apps. And we provide you with the Lego bricks to build whatever you want. I would like to move on to a couple of use cases that we've deployed. I would say this is kind of the most common one that we deal with. Is you had food manufacturer or just a manufacturer that wants to prove that their product is of high quality and was stored in the proper conditions. So just by scanning, whether it be NFC tag or a QR code on the product itself, you as a consumer can quickly see the whole product history, where it came from, how it was stored, the ingredients that were used, maybe certificates, organic, rainforest certificate, everything can be provided. And it doesn't require a special app. You can just scan the QR code with your smartphone and you get all that information. Another use case that we work on is meat traceability, which we allow farm-to-fork traceability. It's a kind of a long use case, so I'll quickly say that we track everything from the farm all the way to the package itself. Hopefully there are not many vegetarians in the room, but I won't go into much detail. Point is, when you have a package of mincemeat, for example, as the end product, you know actually where it came from. So if one of the cows was sick and it passed the veterinarian check, then you know where it ended up. So you can recall just the packages that were infected, so you don't have to recall 100 batches of products. So in case of a recall, you can really limit the damage that it can do to people. And also, we allow for each step of the process to monitor the temperature, so you know that everything was stored in the proper conditions. This is an interesting use case where you can combine smart contracts with IoT. If you have a logistics provider that transports your products, you can enter into a smart contract with that company. Let's say if you have a batch of vaccines, you say, I don't want the temperature to exceed 4 degrees Celsius, for example. And if that happens, then I get 100% rebate. So this is just one type of smart contract you can enter into, and our sensors constantly monitor the temperature. And if nothing wrong happens, everything is stored in the proper conditions, then automatically the money is released and you pay the logistic company. But if something goes wrong, nobody gets paid because they didn't deliver their end of the bargain. So this is a very interesting way to automate your relationship with logistical companies. Let's see how much time we have. Yes, this is an interesting use case that we're doing a pilot project on. Vanilla. Vanilla is actually very expensive. It's about $700 per kilo, and most of it comes from Madagascar. And in many of these regions, there's not constant internet connection. There are a lot of challenges to overcome, but we did by having the information be stored on a smartphone, and when you reconnect with the internet, all the information is sent to our blockchain. So just the company that we're working on, their clients, when they learned that they can trace the vanilla back to Madagascar, they pre-ordered all of their products basically. So this is a recent success story. And I only highlighted a couple of the use cases. We're working on many others, but I just don't have the time. So you can see the different ones like coffee traceability or anti-counterfeit of luxury products, inventory management, olive oil traceability. Yeah, we're working on many of them. I just highlighted the most kind of interesting ones. Not most interesting ones, but that shows something that we can bring to the table that's unique to our company. We have our, we call it the data bonded token, which serves as a digital birth certificate of the products. So it is actually bonded with the physical product as it moves through the supply chain. And again, as I said, it serves as a digital birth certificate. The interesting part is that you can actually pass along this token to your end consumers. For example, if you want to create incentivized feedback, you can tell to your end consumers that if you buy our organic strawberry yogurt, for example, and you give us feedback on this product, then you get a certain amount of tokens as a return. So you can get very creative with our own token and how you utilize it to incentivize consumer behavior. We have our own master nodes. It's a multi-tiered system, different types of master nodes, and I won't go into detail because there's not much time, but the way we created this system is to incentivize good network behavior and punish, obviously, wrongful behavior. The master nodes can be obtained after a very rigorous KYC process, and a certain amount of tokens have to be staked in order to run a master node of Ambrosis. And just to recap how we're different than our competition, first of all is the open source ecosystem, which means, as I already explained, we provide you with the software developer toolkits so you can build apps on top of our platform. Our goal is not necessarily to build these apps for you. You have the ability to do so. IoT ready architecture. Again, we make it very easy to integrate with a variety of IoT devices, not just our own or legacy software systems. We have our own R&D laboratory in Switzerland. So whatever solution you need, we have a team that can actually look at your supply chain, look at your problems, look at your needs, and come up with the most cost-effective solution that can add value. And finally, it's a secure end-to-end solution. So we provide both the hardware and the software. I don't want to compare ourselves to Apple, but that ensures greater security of the information and of data collection. We're about 60 people and growing. Just for perspective, 3.5 months ago, we were about 35 people, so we're growing very fast, and we're actually constantly hiring new people. So if any one of you is interested, you can go to our website, ambrosis.com, and scroll down and see all the vacancies. I think we have 6 or 8 right now, so we're constantly in hiring mode because we have a lot of clients in the pipeline, and we just don't have the manpower to process all of them. So you're very, very much welcome. Currently, we have our offices are in Europe. We have 2 in Switzerland, 1 in Tallinn, Estonia, and the newest one is in Dublin, Ireland. So if some of the jobs are online, but some of them require relocation. We have a number of partnerships with public and private institutions, parity. We are also part of the United Nations 10YFP program, EPFL, which is kind of the MIT of Switzerland. So a lot of very visible institutions have put trust in us, and that's because we have a great team behind us. And we have a vibrant community and outreach. We're pretty much on all channels, Facebook, Reddit, Telegram, Bitcoin Talk. So you're more than welcome to join our community. We very much value the input that our community gives us. They provide in many cases very constructive criticism, so we try to improve as a company, and their feedback and their support is also very much appreciated, so you're welcome to become part of it. And that's it. Thank you so much for listening. I think we don't have time for questions right now, but I'll be outside. As far as I understood the system is, we go to another room where people can talk to me personally and ask these questions, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So anybody who would like to speak to Rado, we have a speakers table set up out in the lobby. He'll be standing out there for questions. We only have about 10 minutes to clear the room and get it ready for the next one, so if you would like to stay, please do. If you would like to move to another room, now is the time to do so, and thank you, Rado, very much. That was a wonderful
Thank you very much for listening.
Talk.